Most people think they are remembered because of what they own, how they look, or how loudly they can demand attention. But that kind of memory fades as quickly as smoke in the wind. What truly makes a person unforgettable has nothing to do with noise or display. It is the quiet, hidden skills, the way you carry yourself, the way you listen, the way you speak with clarity when others are confused. These are the qualities that remain in someone's mind long after you leave the room. The question is, do you know what they are, and do you practice them? What people remember most is not the clever words you spoke, but the presence you carried in the moment. Think about those rare times when you were with someone who seemed fully there, calm, steady, not distracted by their phone or rushing thoughts. That stillness stays with you. It lingers because it is rare. Presence is a skill, though most treat it as if it were chance. It requires discipline to quiet the noise inside, to resist the pull of constant distraction, and to give your attention wholly to the moment you are in. Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by armies, politics, and endless demands, was remembered not for shouting, but for his calm authority. His presence was its own command. Loud people may grab the spotlight, but they fade once the noise dies down. A person who holds themselves with composure and attentiveness leaves a mark that lasts. When you are fully present with someone, you make them feel seen and significant, and that feeling endures far longer than any grand performance. The hidden skill of presence is not about trying to impress. It is about refusing to scatter yourself. When your mind is gathered, when you stand unshaken, you become the kind of person who remains in the thoughts of others long after you are gone. Most conversations are not true exchanges of thought. They are battles of waiting. One person speaks while the other prepares their reply. This is why genuine listening feels almost shocking when we experience it. To be listened to, without interruption, without judgment, without the sense that someone is waiting to correct or outdo us, this is rare. And because it is rare, it is unforgettable. Epictetus taught that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, to listen more than we speak. The one who listens deeply does not simply hear words, they hear fears, hopes, and unspoken meanings beneath the surface. When people feel understood, they replay the moment in their minds long after it has passed. Think of the times when you spoke to someone who made you feel lighter, as though a burden was removed from your chest simply because they gave you space to share it. That person lives in your memory, not because they solved your problems, but because they honored your voice. Deep listening is not passive. It demands attention, patience, and humility. It means choosing silence when you could rush to respond. It means resisting the urge to make every story about yourself. In practicing this, you carry a hidden skill that sets you apart. You become the rare kind of person who makes others feel valued, and for that, they will not forget you. In a world where people forget names within minutes of being introduced, memory becomes a quiet form of respect. To recall the details others overlook is to show that you cared enough to hold on to them. Remembering a person's name, the story they once told, or even the small struggles they mentioned in passing makes them feel seen. It tells them they are not just another face drifting through your life. The Stoics themselves valued memory as a discipline. Students of philosophy trained to recite entire lectures and passages by heart, not to impress others, but to carry wisdom within themselves. What is carried with care endures, and so too with people. When you meet someone who remembers what you said months ago, you are struck by it. You realize they valued you enough to store a piece of you in their mind. This is why leaders who remember names are admired far more than those who deliver polished speeches. The polished words are soon forgotten, but the recognition of a single individual can echo for years. To cultivate memory is to make space for others in your life, to hold them as more than fleeting encounters. It is not an act of showing off, but of devotion to connection. In a forgetful age, the one who remembers becomes rare and therefore unforgettable. Silence unsettles some, but to those who understand its power, it becomes a tool stronger than any speech. Words rush past quickly, but silence lingers. It gives weight to the moment, allowing what was just said, or not said, to sink deeply into memory. The person who does not rush to fill every pause is the one others recall long after. Seneca's writings were not loud proclamations shouted to the masses. They were calm reflections, written with restraint, and yet they have lasted centuries. The absence of noise is what gave his words space to breathe. In conversations, silence can hold more presence than constant chatter. A pause before you answer shows thoughtfulness. A moment of quiet in the middle of chaos brings stability to everyone around you. The restraint to remain silent when provoked leaves an impression stronger than any angry reply. People remember not only what was spoken, but how you carried yourself in the stillness. In a world addicted to noise, silence becomes a rare gift. To practice it is to let others hear the echo of their own hearts, and in doing so, you become the person they remember. Not for the flood of words you poured out, but for the strength you showed in holding them back. Clarity is a gift few offer, yet everyone craves. When confusion surrounds us, the one who can cut through it with simple, direct words becomes unforgettable. Many try to impress with complex language, but what people carry with them is not the elaborate speech, it is the truth made plain. The Stoics excelled in this. They took the turmoil of life, pain, death, ambition, desire, and reduced it to guiding principles that anyone could follow. That is why their words have lasted. They stripped away the excess until only the essence remained. When you explain something clearly, you lift a weight from another's mind. They no longer wrestle with complexity. They walk away with understanding. Think of how you remember the teacher who made a difficult subject suddenly easy, or the friend who explained in one sentence what others could not in paragraphs. The memory of that clarity stays because it brought relief. To practice clarity requires discipline. It means mastering your own thoughts before speaking them. It means resisting the temptation to impress with cleverness. The one who can bring order to confusion is rare and therefore remembered. Your words do not need to be many, they need to be true, simple, and steady. In this way, your voice continues in the minds of others long after the noise of complicated speech has been forgotten. Most people look without seeing. They pass through rooms, streets, and conversations blind to the details that reveal who others truly are. Observation is a skill that turns ordinary encounters into lasting impressions. When you notice what others miss, you show that you are not skimming the surface. You are present at a deeper level. A change in tone, a restless gesture, or a quiet sigh can speak louder than words. To point it out gently or to respond with care makes a person feel profoundly recognized. They will remember you not because you dazzled them, but because you caught the truth they thought was hidden. Imagine the teacher who notices the student staring at the ground, who asks the question that no one else dared, and who gives kindness at the exact moment it was needed. Years later, the student still remembers. The Stoics trained themselves to see the world as it was, not as they wished it to be. They practiced observing human nature with the same sharpness as they observed the stars or the seasons. In life, this skill builds connection without words. You do not need to announce what you see. People feel it. And when someone feels seen in a world where so many are overlooked, that memory does not fade. To sharpen your eyes is to sharpen your presence. The one who notices becomes the one who stays in mind. What makes a person truly memorable is not a single act of brilliance, but the steady rhythm of consistency. In a world where moods shift quickly and promises are often broken, the one who remains the same becomes a point of trust. People may not praise it loudly, but they remember the person who can be counted on. Consistency is a quiet kind of strength. It is the habit of showing up, of keeping your word, of holding steady when others are tossed about. A friend who speaks with warmth one day and coldness the next will not linger in thought, but the one who greets you with the same grounded spirit each time becomes unforgettable. The Stoics taught that character is revealed not in rare bursts of virtue, but in the daily practice of it. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes dyed by the color of its thoughts. Consistency in thought and action leaves a lasting mark not only on the self, but on those who witness it. To be consistent is not to be rigid, it is to be dependable, to let others know what they can expect from you, regardless of the storm. This steadiness itself is a comfort. And over time, it turns into memory. The consistent person is remembered as a rock in shifting sands, a living proof that stability exists. And because reliability is so rare, those who embody it remain in people's minds long after fleeting personalities fade. Integrity is a weight that cannot be faked. People may be fooled for a time by charm, by power, or by eloquence, but when a person's actions consistently match their words, the impression they leave is lasting. Integrity is the alignment between what you say and what you do. It is the quiet refusal to betray values, even when no one is watching. History remembers Cato the Younger not for great victories in battle or speeches that shook empires, but for his unwavering stand for principle in the face of corruption. He could not be bought, he could not be bent, and that memory outlived those who sought to overpower him. When you live with integrity, you may not always be liked in the moment, but you will be respected in memory. People recall the one who refused to take shortcuts, who did not speak one way in public and act another in private. Even if they disagreed with you, they cannot dismiss the consistency of your truth. Integrity leaves an invisible mark because it builds trust that stretches beyond words. A person may forget the details of what you said, but they will remember how safe they felt in your honesty. To practice integrity is to choose the harder path again and again. It demands sacrifice, but that sacrifice is precisely what makes it unforgettable. When others look back, they do not recall the easy compromises. They recall the one who stood firm, and in doing so, they carry that image long after the moment has passed. Restraint is one of the most overlooked skills, yet it carries immense weight in memory. Anyone can react in anger, defend themselves with sharp words, or rush to prove a point. Few can remain composed when insulted, mocked, or provoked. And it is precisely this rarity that makes restraint unforgettable. Imagine two men confronted in public. One lashes out, his anger spilling everywhere, and though people may talk about it briefly, the memory fades. The other stands calm, unshaken, responding with dignity or not at all. That composure will be remembered for years, even admired in silence. The Stoics believed that mastery of the self was greater than mastery of others. To hold back the urge to retaliate is not weakness, it is strength of the highest order. Seneca wrote that anger is temporary madness, and those who resist it preserve not only their reason, but their reputation. People instinctively respect the one who does not let others pull their strings. Restraint carries a message without needing words. You are not controlled by impulse, by gossip, or by hostility. You are anchored. And because people so rarely encounter this, they do not forget it when they see it. To practice restraint is to show others that there is another way to live. calmly, steadily, without being enslaved by reaction. In a noisy world that celebrates outrage, the quiet act of holding back leaves the deepest impression. The people we remember most are not always those who made us admire them, but those who made us admire ourselves in their presence. To lift another person's sense of worth is a skill greater than charm or wit. Flattery is cheap and quickly forgotten, but genuine encouragement lodges itself in memory. Think of the mentor who told you that you were capable of more than you believed, or the friend who reminded you of your strength when you felt weak. Their words stay with you, not because they were grand, but because they awakened something within you. The Stoics understood that true greatness is not in making others dependent on you, but in helping them see the strength already inside themselves. A good leader or teacher is not remembered for keeping the spotlight, but for sharing it. Encouragement is not about exaggeration or empty praise. It is about noticing someone's effort, their progress, their potential, and calling it out with honesty. People rarely forget those who gave them courage at the exact moment they needed it. To practice this skill is to shift your focus from being impressive to being useful. When others leave your presence feeling more capable, more alive, and more certain of their own worth, you will live in their thoughts long after. Your memory becomes tied not to what you achieved, but to what you awakened in them. And that is the kind of remembrance that never fades. Curiosity, when genuine, has a way of drawing people closer and leaving a lasting mark. Most enter conversations with answers ready, eager to share what they know. Few enter with the humility to ask questions and truly want to understand. Yet it is often the questioner, not the lecturer, who is remembered. Socrates became immortal in memory not because he claimed wisdom, but because he asked questions that forced others to examine themselves. Curiosity shows interest without judgment, and in doing so, it gives dignity to the person being asked. When someone feels that another human being values their story, their thoughts, their perspective, they do not forget it. The practice of curiosity requires more than surface-level inquiries. It means listening with intent, asking not to fill silence but to uncover meaning. It means resisting the urge to impose your own conclusion, and instead guiding others to discover their own. Think of how people recall those who drew them out of their shell, who invited them to share when no one else bothered to ask. The memory of such moments endures because it affirms our existence. Curiosity is not weakness, it is strength disguised as humility. It takes courage to admit you do not know, and discipline to seek understanding rather than control. When you live with genuine curiosity, you become the rare person who makes others feel valued in their depth. And for that reason, long after the conversation ends, they will carry you with them. Resilience is one of those qualities that imprints itself deeply on the minds of others. People are drawn to stories of those who faced hardship yet refused to be broken. The memory of resilience is powerful because it offers hope. It shows that endurance is possible. Epictetus, born into slavery and suffering lameness from beatings, could have been remembered as a victim of cruelty. Instead, he is remembered as a teacher of kings, a man whose spirit could not be chained. His life became a living argument that strength lies not in what happens to you, but in how you respond. When people see someone rise again after failure, loss, or betrayal, they cannot help but carry that image with them. It becomes a quiet reminder to endure their own struggles. Resilience is not loud. It does not need to announce itself. It is seen in the steady step after collapse, the refusal to complain, the courage to keep moving. And because suffering is universal, the sight of resilience resonates with everyone. To cultivate this skill is to accept pain without letting it define you, to bend without breaking. People may forget your successes, but they will not forget the way you stood up again after being struck down. That memory lingers because it offers strength to others. And in offering strength, you remain alive in their thoughts, a symbol of what is possible even in the harshest conditions. All of these skills, presence, listening, memory, silence, clarity, observation, consistency, integrity, restraint, encouragement, curiosity, resilience, spring from a single source, self-mastery. Without it, they cannot endure. With it, they flow naturally. The Stoics believed the greatest empire a person could rule was not over nations or armies, but over their own impulses, desires, and fears. To master yourself is to carry within you a stillness that others can feel, even if they cannot explain it. People may not say, "This person has self-mastery," but they will sense it in your steadiness, your ability to remain grounded no matter what swirls around you. That impression is what lingers. When a person cannot be easily shaken, cannot be lured into vanity or provoked into rage, they seem to belong to another order of being. Such people become unforgettable not because they try to be, but because they embody the rare freedom that so many secretly crave. Self-mastery is invisible work, done in solitude, in the discipline of thought, in the quiet refusals no one applauds. Yet its effect spreads outward, shaping every interaction. It is the reason why some are remembered not just for what they did, but for what they were. To pursue self-mastery is to accept that the most powerful influence you can have on others comes from what you cultivate within. When you order your inner world, you give order to those around you. And long after you are gone, that image of calm strength will remain in the minds of others as a reminder of what is possible when one rules themselves. If this brought you value, subscribe for more timeless lessons that will stay with you long after the video ends.